Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Gaming with me, Tony Mo. Happy Saturday. That means it's time for another vlog, of course. And today we're really only going to be talking about two things. Number one, Hyper Light Drifter, which you guys are seeing footage of right now, which is a game you should totally be checking out. And number two, a bit of a channel discussion, some stuff that I want to announce and that I want to talk about. So let's start with that while you guys enjoy this Hyper Light Drifter footage. The channel is ridiculously close to 2,000 subscribers. Insane amount of growth over the past week. It's been amazing. It's been a huge kick in the head for me as well. Sort of realizations, things that I just constantly doubted myself about. But apart from all of that, what I wanted to do when the channel does hit 10K is have a Q&A. I'm not really one for celebrating milestones. I don't know why. I'm just really stubborn about that. Very much a Steve Jobs approach to it, coincidentally, because he never felt that it would be right to celebrate a milestone for Apple because they were a company about the future and not the past. That was actually just something I recently read about Steve Jobs, and I was like, oh wow, you know, I definitely fall in line with that, and I can understand that approach to a degree. But holding a Q&A at 10K is less of a celebration of a milestone and more of a thank you to you guys for helping that milestone happen. It's the opportunity for you to dig a little bit deeper inside of the head of the man that is Tony Mo. So I want you guys to go ahead. Any question you want, can be gaming related, channel related. It can be, you know, how did you do this? How do you do that? It can be life related, music related. I don't care. Try and keep it as clean as you can, please. Of course, if you don't, I'll still laugh and we'll have a great time regarding that question. And then throw them down in the comment section below. Right now, this video, this is the place where I'm going to harvest all of those juicy Q&A questions. Once the channel does hit 10K, I'll go ahead and put together an entire video dedicated to answering those questions. And of course, guys, I just wanted to give you all one more big thank you. It's just been a really good realization for me of things that I know I should have already known, but when you do stuff like this, you know, if you create anything in life, you doubt your abilities from time to time. You doubt your progress, you doubt if you're going in the right direction. Usually it's very easy to get back on track, and I almost always do. It's usually a fraction of a second where I'm like, doubt, and then I'm like, nope, back to what I was doing. You know, and having people there constantly providing feedback, positive feedback more often than not, and enjoying and getting involved with the content that you're making is a huge reminder that you are very much moving in the right direction. But as I always say, there's always room for improvement. But one of the things that's been very nice, a very big sort of yes moment for me was, I don't know, I guess it was just like, it just kind of clicked for me finally that, like, dude, you've been able to build the channel that you've always wanted to build. Like, you're there, you know, you're going there. The channel's going places. There's no denying that at this point. Like, the only way forward is up, onto bigger things at some point. I have a lot of crazy ideas planned. Very, very, you know, insane ideas for the future, no doubt. But first and foremost, the channel, of course. But the idea that I've been able to build a channel on the content that I've wanted to make, you know, content that isn't just informational, that isn't just short form entertainment. In fact, it's the opposite, it's long form, and it's this combination of blending, you know, these elements together, videos that contain information, that contain entertainment, but that also invoke intelligent conversation, that dig a little bit deeper, that go beyond just crunching the numbers, as one of you guys said. Very, very well spoken there as well. You know, that go beyond just what everyone else is trying to do to drive the growth, and really looks at what I want to do and the types of conversations that I want to have surrounding video games. And I've always held to the fact that if I can make videos where the discussion continues after the video is over with that individual. So you sit down, you watch the video, you engage in that discussion, maybe you leave a comment, but then that sticks with you. And you talk about that with other people, you know, proper discussion pieces, then I would be genuinely happy. And if I can infuse the importance of, you know, information and entertainment into those videos as well, then I would be really happy with what I was doing. And I think the review I did for the Caduceus, which very much one of the driving forces behind the channel over the past week, is a prime example of the fact that there is an audience for that, and that audience exists, and they're you guys. They're here, they're watching my stuff, and that's amazing. The Caduceus review is about to hit 60,000 views, and it has a pretty decent chunk of dislikes, and I'm 100% okay with that. I'm not looking at it in a negative way, because I know that those dislikes are people who came here expecting what they would traditionally find in a weapon review. It's the same reason, you know, a lot of the guides and tips I do end up seeing a lot of, comments and dislikes, because there are people who come to a video like that, and what they expect as the norm is, give me the information and let me get out. Short and to the point, short and sweet and to the point. And that's just not what I do here. And it's never what I will do. I'm here for the people who want the information. They want the assistance in the form of a guide. They want to see what I'm doing with the review. They want the opinion of a certain weapon in a game or a game itself, but they also want to indulge in the conversation. They want to open up their mind and get their creative and thought process juices flowing, I guess is the best way to put that. They want to think a little bit. They want a side of thought with their meal, with their dinner of entertainment, of information. And I dig that people like that exist. I dig that people like you guys exist and you enjoy watching that, and that I can enjoy making content like that, knowing that there are people who are just engaged in it as I am. So that's that. Let's wrap that up before I ramble anymore. Really big thank you for that, guys, for just allowing this to exist in the way that it does. So let's move forward, and enough of the emotional rambling. Let's talk a little bit about Hyper Light Drifter. Hyper Light Drifter, man. This amazing little experience. Probably one of the most, if not the most, beautiful pixel art game that I have ever had the opportunity of playing. I remember seeing this game around the same time that Cappy Games was revealing Below and being genuinely impressed by both of them from a visual perspective. But now that I've played Hyper Light Drifter, it is so much more than just the pixel art. There's no doubt that's at the forefront of it, and they've gone above and beyond what most developers do when they do pixel art. I always have felt that all too often, games like this just don't focus on the details, the environmental effects, what we would call, all the little bits and pieces that happen when somebody casts a spell or does an attack. That stuff usually gets left behind in pixel art. That's not the case with Hyper Light Drifter. It's all here, and it's beautifully rendered. The little puffs of dirt as the drifter walks across the ground, the movement of the cape, he or she, we don't actually know, just the drifter at this point. Attacking of your sword, dashing with using your abilities, it's all just so well animated. It's insane. It's absolutely stunning, and it's one of the reasons I really love pixel art. It reminds me of, when you look at woodworking, there are people who do woodworking, and then there are those who choose to do woodworking with just hand tools. And that's kind of how I look at pixel art when you compare it to traditional animation and art. That's just how I feel about it, and Hyper Light Drifter is an outstanding example of that. The game goes so much more beyond that, and I definitely need to play a lot more of it, but right now, some of the things that I'm loving about it are a lot of the indirect, obvious influences to games like Legend of Zelda, Metroid, and Dark Souls. I think there's a lot of huge Souls connections here in the way that the player is given this giant world, essentially, and just told to explore it. You can go defeat bosses at your own whim. You can, engage enemies at your own whim. You can explore new areas to acquire credits, which you can then use to upgrade your gear. And it's all on your own agenda. The game doesn't tell you where to go or when to go anywhere. It's really just about your own personal limitations or the limitation of your character's abilities and upgrade skills. That's it. Other than that, it's you want to go south, go south. You want to go north and kill the boss, go north. Much like Souls, there are teleportation pads throughout the world that you can jump back to the main hub from. When you revisit old areas, the enemies will respawn. Mobs will be there once again, but the bosses will not. It's a really gratifying feeling when you boot into a game, and just moments after the opening cinematic, you realize you have this huge open world just full of all these little nooks and crannies to be explored. And in fact, in many cases, I would say that Hyper Light Drifter requires you to explore in order to progress properly throughout the game, and I love that. One of the other big things for me, though, is the overall atmosphere and world design. It's such a weird, way to put the game. It's very much sci-fi fantasy, there's no doubt about that, but the main hub alone, for some reason, just reminds me so much of Blade Runner, and a lot of that I think has to do with the game's presentation when it comes to what we would call speech reading, text. None of that exists in a traditional sense in Hyper Light Drifter. None of the characters speak directly to you. In fact, any NPC that you engage with will talk to you through stories being told through images and pictures. They all just make noises. The shops don't have any English in them. Everything's in a foreign language. Nothing is delivered directly to the player. It's all there for them to discover and figure out on their own. Much like a Souls game, I think that is a very special part of Hyper Light Drifter and something that I've grown to respect in just the 3 hours that I played the game. There's so much more to do in this game. I realize that there's so much more to learn about it. There's an entire combat system to master, and I think at one point I will come back to you guys with an even bigger video regarding this game. But I would like you to do yourself a favor and learn more about Hyper Light Drifter. Check the game out on Steam, watch some Let's Plays, check out some streams, and very much consider making it one of your next gaming purchases. It is currently available for $17.99 at a sale price on Steam. If you grew up with Legend of Zelda, if you grew up with Metroid, Earthbound, if you've enjoyed games like, Dark Souls and Bloodborne and Demon Souls, do yourself a favor, really consider picking up Hyper Light Drifter. Now, I know some of you guys are probably sitting there asking yourselves, Tony, where's the Doom coverage? Where's Doom? Well, Doom definitely warrants a video of its own. There's a lot to be said about that multiplayer beta. I'm going to be playing more of it over the weekend and bringing you guys my impressions in the coming days, so keep an eye out for that. This week is also going to be absolutely packed with stuff. We've got Quantum Break, Souls the week after that, a lot of stuff regarding the Division. We'll be doing some more weapon reviews this week, as well as another build. I'm finally finishing up my Saboteur build. I'm very excited to share that with you guys. It's going to be a good week. Look forward to it. Apart from that, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Please consider leaving a question for that Q&A, even if you're someone who doesn't traditionally comment on my videos, you just kind of stalk. That's okay, just watch and enjoy. I really don't care what you do, but this is your opportunity. Even if it's just one simple question, throw it down in the comment section below, and we will take care of those once that channel hits that big 10K mark. Thank you guys all again. Thank you very much. As I said, have an amazing weekend, play some awesome games, maybe some Hyper Light Drifter, and I will see you in the next one.